Hello everyone, Michael Lenoir speaking. After decades of publishing in this field and teaching, I feel that I'm repeating myself. However, we obviously need more data and more people connected to this awareness. The occult life of the planet, or more exactly, of the consciousness moving our universe, is far from being understood or even acknowledged. Our matrix, Earth matrix, our collective karma need more clearing to allow the manifestation of the new paradigm. Shared awareness can hasten the process. Besides giving out information about the occult, my secondary intent is to promote a different understanding of astrology. Astrological transits and charts are a time map. They show the unfoldment of what we use to call divine plan, or the steps taken by the creator consciousness to manifest itself through its creation, you being a part of it. Therefore, if you want to become good co-creators or to manifest a better life for yourself, being aware of what the creator is doing is a good thing. Additionally, while reading a chart as a time map, multidimensional consciousness allows direct insights into the Akashic records or the memory bank of the planet and humankind. Events of the past come up to show how the matrix has been weaved through human interactions. The focus of this video is the Neptune-Saturn conjunction. Also getting you ready for the months of May or months of manifestation. We'll also mention a few other events, such as the true meaning of the Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions. A note before starting, as I have watched and smiled at Stephen Burns' video a few weeks ago, in which he kindly and openly acknowledged an error. Yes, we are all very enthusiastic and eager to precipitate the manifestation of our dreams. As mentioned in the book Creator God, I have often wondered how many errors I will discover in my interpretation of human reality. I better laugh. Besides the typos, how many professors might contradict while reading my prose. There was this very entertaining moment in 2002. While writing and editing the text of the book Amen, we were print ready. I was trying to forget a weird feeling, something that came while writing the chapter Magic. When I mentioned Gerbert d'Aurillac, the famous character of the 10th century, my higher self started to laugh and giggle with its great and oh so funny sense of humor. I don't know if you can imagine such a consciousness laughing. It is quite a delightful experience. Naively and presumptuously arguing against black magic, I had allowed myself to be a bit judgmental, steering my higher self's laughter. The message came right through. I was obviously missing data about the character Gerbert, also known as Pope Sylvester II. But the book Amen was print ready, it was too late, or too early according to divine timing. We had to deal with that later, and again now. too long ago, and probably as of today. Now, yes, more message came through in the last weeks. The impact in religious history generated by Gerbert, Pope Sylvester II, and his numerous accomplices is still felt. Gerbert's effort to communicate with the other side was indeed successful and played its part, was positive until recently. However, human beings have a tendency to bring density and darkness to everything, and humankind is now asked to connect to the Creator directly, without interface. What a collective karma. How many souls, groups, involved since the 11th century have agglutinated around this energy? Let's focus on the story and use intent combined with the astrological transits to transmute all this as fast as possible. So, this is another practice to move astrology to a higher level of interpretation. Let's go for it, and then we'll talk about Gerbert again. Constellations, stars, and planets are the bodies of expression, the emanations of divine consciousness. They are parts of the body of the Creator God, the consciousness that you are the cells of. As such, the energies that they carry or emanate, the astrological maps are pictures of the consciousness of the Creator God, thinking, dreaming its creation, and adjusting it on different planes of existence or different dimensions. Astrology shows how this wondrous consciousness is adjusting its creation and searching unity with you, within itself and with you. While the subject is discussed at length, 500 pages in my last book. Just for fun, let's add something else. In the book, The Sistine Secrets, Benjamin Blech and Roy Doliner introduced the Hebrew tree of life and the Sephiroth, a subject still very close to my heart, as it was to Michelangelo when he painted the Sistine Chapel. The tree of life, a multidimensional world in itself, is represented with 10 sephiroths or spheres. It is an image of the heavenly man. Chokmah, one of the spheres, is believed to represent the zodiac with the fixed stars, what I have equated to our matrix. Then 7 sephiroth correspond to the 7 planets of the old zodiac. As for the lowest, the Sephirah Malkut, it is the sphere of the element earth, fire, water, and air, according to David Godwin. Blech and Doliner describe the Sephiroths as emanations of the divine, representing the series of intermediate stages that make the creation of the finite world possible, almost like the steps necessary for an artist to bring his ideas to life. Therefore, reading the sky, the astrological chart, can be a stroll into the divine consciousness. Again, I want to reiterate that At this stage in human evolution, it is important to ponder and revise our understanding and definition of the words and the concepts of spiritual and divine. Since early human history, astrology was promoted by the beings who assisted mankind in their new beginnings. It was one of the gifts of the angels. But why astrology? Was it only for prediction or to know how your psyche is working? No, this is not enough. Astrology is one of the most powerful and versatile learning tools. Not only it allows a deeper vision in the mechanics of your soul, but it allows to learn how the soul of the world is working. Astrology promotes, facilitates communication and relationships with the cosmos. The angels who offered it to remind humans, they offered astrology to remind humans of their connection with the stars and with the universe. The Creator God cannot speak to most humans' ears. Therefore, all throughout human history, solutions have been provided to accommodate Earthlings' condition. What are humans? Receivers, interfaces between realities, between non-manifested and manifested realms of existence. So if human beings can or could, if they could communicate with their makers, if they would, the game would be faster, more effective, not as painful, much more fun for humans. Astrology is a time map, the time map in the experiment of creation. It can be read at many different levels. So if you want to be a co-creator, if you want to manifest, you need to learn how to serve consciousness. And this is where you use astrology. It can also be interpreted as the manifestation of archetypes. But what is the origin of an archetype? For those whose heart stars for oneness and mind for clarity beyond archetype, another step can be taken. Look at the planets as aspects of your local Creator God's consciousness in the realm of manifestation. We zoom out to a larger picture and include the Creator God, the heart and consciousness of the universe we are living in. Then we have a chance to access its story, how it impacts the third dimension. And then we can go onto the wave. Adding this dimension to your awareness will assist you. Knowing the consciousness that is your greater self is the best way to promote communication and then collaboration with it. You're invited to be or become a responsible co-creator. For the inquiring minds, what best to study than the universal mind? For the Virgos who want to serve, it is easier to serve what we know. For the fanatics of, I want to manifest this or that, well, access the manifestation frequency is its best. For the victims who have looked for a savior forever, then discover that you are the savior. Human history reflects the decisions and evolution of the manifested deity. Okay, let's go deeper, hoping to get you involved. Since the onset of the human race, the deity has moved with and through humankind using a team of souls, partners with which human history has been overshadowed and directed. You want to be part of this team? Well, open your awareness. State your true desire to serve and go for it. But be consistent. For instance, do not make promises that you will not keep to your friends, to your neighbors, to your kids. Practice the word. Practice clarity and keep your word, even for the small things. The universe and high consciousnesses always keep their word. Rule number 1, you want to manifest, be straightforward and keep your word. Okay. Now, Saturn and Neptune in Aries. What is the cosmic point of view? Aries is the beginning of a manifestation cycle. Life impetus at its maximum, throwing itself into the realm of manifestation. The ram expresses the consciousnesses and universe's will and power, taking over matter and form, taking over the physical universe. Right now, the creator is redesigning your world, readjusting to its original intent. To truly understand what is going on, we need to open and look at a larger picture using the last cycle, what is called the precessional cycle, from the precession of the equinox. The cycle is about 26,000 years. Within each cycle of divine breath, each precessional cycle, the forces of creation, the divine intent, whatever the term divine means for you, the divine intent projects itself out of its center and restarts the project, man and humanity, at a higher frequency. In the present cycle, the intent started or was anchored in the Lyra constellation, using the position of the star Vega to read a chart is thus important. So, the life of the Milky Way, the life of the body that you are living in, move according to the precession of the equinoxes, and we are now at a time when within this cycle, the Lord of Lyra is redesigning everything and sending its message, its frequency, its will, its plan, using the ram, using Aries. Life as we know it is changing. Our Creator God just ended its descension process. The descension being the process during which the deity loses itself to contemplate the abyss, the chaos of nascent and organized life. It's like a painter looking at a white canvas and starting to throw color. And at the beginning, it doesn't make sense. But then slowly the painting is coming up. The universal heart mind constantly tests new avenues. I try this, I try that. This works, this doesn't work. This is the process that we know in physics, okay? And the deity slowly reorganizes itself, and therefore the creation, at a higher frequency, gradually adding more spiritual tones to itself in manifestation, to its creation. This would be the ascension process, what you call the ascension process. And it's the part of the cycle that we humans are just starting now. In both the descension and ascension process, the deity follows the route mapped and illustrated by the zodiac. More precisely, the zodiac illustrates the route taken by consciousness in our universe. In the tradition, the old tradition, the bull, which frequency is anchored in Taurus, is the symbol and area of manifestation of the deity. It is thus expected for the deity to use a body who has the sun in the Taurus. Then, when time is right, the deity can manifest itself in the third dimension. It uses the impetus of Aries to do so. This idea is supported, illustrated by John Dee's monad. You can see the illustration of the book here. You can buy it, study it. It's quite entertaining. John Dee was Elizabeth's astrologer and magician. This glyph is said to represent the monad, means the divine part of self. If we speak about the deity, we can see that the deity's intent and energy, this would be a representation of the deity, small part of it. So the deity's intent, the life force, first emerges at the bottom with the impetuosity of a young ram. Ignis on the right means ignition, start, the fire. Look at the glyph on the left. It manifests or uses matter, the cross, as its recipient. So we start with the ram at the bottom, Aries. Then the ram plunges on earth in the physical realm. This is matter represented by the cross and the elements. Then the combined energies of spirit and matter, as represented by the sun, so-called, and the moon, allow manifestation, illustrated by the symbol of Taurus, which happened to be a circle with a crescent moon on top of it. We'll start with Neptune, the god of the ocean. Water is an intermediary state, teaching you fluidity, weightlessness. The ocean is both attractive and stunningly dangerous, powerful. According to the mythos, Neptune did not participate with his brothers in the initiation process of dissension and hard meeting with the darkness. If you want more on that, you look at my website, Eleusinian Mysteries, or you read the book Creator God. Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto were involved. You can also check the videos, the meaning of the Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions that we will be speaking more in this presentation. So, Neptune is one of the three brothers with Jupiter and Pluto, but he did not participate in the scheme put together to initiate human beings faster through the darkness. At the cosmic level, Neptune embodies the deity's dream, now expressed with the power and will of Aries. Neptune is twofold. Well, we know at the human level, Neptune is mostly manifested as illusion and truth, drama, glamour, drugs. Or if the soul has evolved, Neptune brings imagination, creativity, higher truth, higher beliefs, intuition, and a higher octave of love. But let's go back to the grand scheme. Cosmically speaking, the Creator has a dream, a vision, launched with the energies and the power of Aries, the ram. In other words, the deity's intent and will emerges out of the cosmic ocean and are projected onto the world of matter. However, transported into the world of form, the dream is distorted, diminished, and morphed into something else. The 3D reality is a combination of both worlds, both realms, divine and human. At this time, there is a conflict. There is discrepancy between the God's intent and humankind's general state and will. The first step for the galactic body is full alignment with the galactic center or heart of the galaxy. But there is a challenge as translated on the celestial map as a square between Saturn, Neptune, and the galactic center. Neptune, the North Node, and Saturn are facing the Virgo supercluster. Opposition. There is no conjunction. There is no sextile. There is an opposition. We are far from the goal. Mankind is taking one step at a time. The Virgo supercluster, remember, is the super big being or cosmic entity that we belong to. So mankind is assisted in the process of refining itself, refining its frequency by the conjunction Neptune-Saturn. With this meeting, you are going through the melting of barriers. The melting of barriers between the spiritual world and the 3D reality. It can be, in fact, easier to embody your soul and your higher self. The deity's consciousness and humankind, or the God and mankind, are striving for union, coalescence. But then it is difficult for humans to bring their frequency higher enough and fast without feeling kind of dizzy, disbalanced, disconnected. It is also difficult because the more you refine yourself, the more empathic you become. So your consciousness with your neighbor's consciousness are melting, coming together. So how do we relate with each other? What is me? What is the other? How do we complete our karma? How our relationship with family members, with spiritual family members, affected by the fact that everything is coming to a closer state of union, sharing. We share karma, we share physical problems, we share drama. You can see here the connection between Neptune and love. Love is unity, union. The conjunction between the manifestor of form, the crystallization, Saturn, and the more spiritual frequency enhance human ability for love and coming together, for telepathic communication. But then it makes it tricky. We're not sure how the internet and AI will prevail. We have created an external nervous system with the internet, but isn't the mode of communication of the divine just telepathic? My long-term experience with other beings, other realms, is that telepathy is the preferred communication tool. So let's see how that can unfold at the level of mankind. So you might experience unity and coalescence as a challenge because empathy can affect your physical integrity. Neptune is linked to the lymphatic and immune system. Lymphatic system, immune system. The melting down of physical reality can also impact your mental health. Who am I? What is real? Where are my boundaries? What is mine? What is me? What am I sharing with others? Am I sharing too much? Am I becoming sick because of the others? Am I really loving this person or just feeling the other's love? There is also the sextile with an orb of Neptune Uranus to consider. The Creator's dream, or what we call divine plan, launched through Aries' power, repeatedly penetrates the Earth's matrix, Taurus, like the battering rams used by the soldiers in the Middle Age to destroy forts and castles. That's Uranus. The proximity with Mercury shows the efforts of the deity to communicate while doing that. Oops, earthquake while searching for the best photo of the battling ram. This is unity with the higher consciousness. Just a parenthesis. So why do we experience friction, chaos on the earth? Because humans need to change their understanding of and their relationship with the universe. Not necessarily through science and AI, but through enhanced hormonal and brain capacities. We are speaking about the continuous use of the pineal gland. At the practical level, the occult leaders, the initiates, the popes, need to stop feeding themselves at the old source, the one that relates with the magic of the past centuries. I'm going to repeat. As for the occult leaders, the initiates, the popes, they need to stop feeding themselves at the old source, the one that relates with practical magic, theurgy, everything that has been done and normal for centuries. We are going to explain. Attempts to establish communication with other dimensions and higher frequencies with the deities resulted in religions, cults, lodges. For centuries, you have used prayers, rituals, magic, rituals like the Catholic Mass, especially as it was celebrated in the past. And all this resulted in an accumulation of data and entities, maybe the fabrication of what we can call live plasma, living beings, living intelligence. All this, these masses of alive bodies of data are agglutinated on the Earth's energy field, like clutter in your closets. This is cluster, okay, too much in your brain. If you do not want the Ram and Uranus to violently do the cleanup, or to experience badly the cleanup, all this has to stop. Now let's be more precise. Again, you can refer to the 4 videos about the Jupiter-Saturn cycles on YouTube, on the website, and also to the Amen book, in which I explain how magic resulted in the most powerful egregore, an energy field with intelligence, known in the occult as the Baphomet. In a few words, I summarized for the newcomers. Before year 1000, so this is more than 1,000 years ago, a monk and polymath, advisor to kings and emperors, as some like to be called nowadays, a polymath. Gerbert established a connection with the higher realms, attaching entities to human skulls. When he became Pope Sylvester II, he probably left his artifacts with a good how-to manual to, just guess, he was a pope. So probably to the Vatican. Different groups were then created as guardians of this precious artifact, this mechanical thing to which entities were attached originally and over again for centuries. So groups like the Templars were said to be its guardian, its owners, because they could get data and power. It was the best tool to communicate and access the power of the deity. So for those who know a little more about the occult, this was communication with the demiurge and a deflection, going astray of the original energy. So this artifact was created. It was not called the Baphomet. However, more than a century later, in the 11th century, during the trial of the Templars, they were accused of worshipping a head. The term Baphomet does appear in letters and songs around the 11th century. This is video Jupiter-Saturn conjunction part 3. Later, in the 19th century, the occultist Eliphas Levi popularized the name Baphomet. It is my understanding that 10 centuries of repeated rituals in the lodges, in the inner circle of spirituality, decadent spirituality, Satanism, the original intent that was created by Pope Sylvester II gained more and more power. It became a huge egregore, a huge energy field, unfortunately tainted with more and more yet layers of darkness. All these rituals, interconnected, have generated an interface similar to the web, a gigantic emanation of millions of brains. However, it has also spoiled human capacity to directly connect. It's like being used to just looking at a video instead of connecting with a human being. What's the difference between watching your wife or your beloved through a Zoom meeting or coming together? So this damaged and dark image, this cloud, interferes in the creator's efforts now to directly communicate with earthlings. So the diversion that was created, and again, it was a good thing because there was no other way to connect with the creator, was good, yet it became a problem. And we now have to deal with that, just like the creator has a karma, as evidenced by Chiron in the Aries, if I remember well. I will check. This is extracted from one of my texts. The Saturn-Jupiter great conjunctions rule the ongoing harmonization process between heaven and earth, between their manifested representation in 3D, expansion, retraction, divine crystallization. Gerbert was a mathematician, an astrologer. He probably knew the power of the cycles, Jupiter-Saturn, the great chronocraters. He knew that Jupiter and Saturn marked the steps of alignment between the deity's intent and its materialization on Earth. Jupiter is the king, the ruler, the applier of the cosmic laws. Saturn receives the intent and organizes the energies on Earth. So this artifact and the use of this artifact was not only made by someone who knew exactly what he was doing. He was working with ley lines, he was working with vortices, he was working with math, astrology, and magic all together. But now we are at a different step. Secret societies, lodges, as well as churches have attempted to connect with the divine, and in their struggle to communicate, they have accepted all those things. But now this is over. All this rulership through magic, through rituals, all this is over. The Jupiter-Saturn conjunction of 2020 marked the end of the rulership of rituals, initiations under the rule of Pluto, and connected to the inverted pentagram, the inverted Venus. About this, you have 2 videos about Venus being freed from her obligation to the Luciferian energies. Okay, I'm going to repeat. Secret societies, lodges, churches have connected with the divine using magic and rituals and connecting with this gigantic egregore, unfortunately tainted by the darkness because it was connected to the mysteries and Pluto, the ruler of the underworld. It was also connected to Ceres and her daughter Persephone. The last Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, 2020, marked the end, astrologically speaking, the end of the mysteries, the end of the rulership of Pluto, the end of the inverted pentagram rituals. And you have videos about Venus being freed from her obligation to Lucifer in YouTube and my website, probably. Also, at the time of the last Jupiter-Saturn great conjunction, December 2020, the demiurge, or closer part, the manifested part of the divine, freed itself from its obligation to the darkness and from the repetitive dark magical rituals that had kept its physical expression trapped. The 2020 conjunction marked the end of the satanic sacrifice of the god king, like the killing of, oh God, the word in English is not coming, I will have to add it. Between conjunctions, we have squares and oppositions. December 24, 2024 was the second square. We are now going towards the third Jupiter-Saturn square in June 2025. Saturn is also square to the galactic center, our closest connection to the galaxy, or the body of our heavenly man. Jupiter is opposite with the galactic center. Again, as evidenced by Chiron in Aries, the deity is dealing with its wound, the Baphomet being a large part of it. The intent of Gerbert d'Aurillac, that was to create a bridge between reality, a bridge towards the creator consciousness, was good for a while. It was an impossible accomplishment 1,000 years ago. But then this intent was distorted and the cult became focused on the Baphomet egregore, on darkness, on greed, on sex, as evidenced by the story of Pluto kidnapping and raping Persephone. This is only in the zodiac. Everything is written in astrology if you want to read it. So the intent was distorted. The cult became focused on 3D, personal greed, the two lower chakras, me, 3 actually, instead of moving personal awareness towards other dimensions. So, power was removed in 2020 from the old mystery schools, from the cults, but the field, the energy field is still there. It can be compared to the cell that you create with your sun. You know, in astrology, the sun sign indicates how you're fabricating a social self, something to deal with life. That's first level of the sun sign. Well, this is what happened in some ways to the Creator God. And now the Creator wants to express its purity, its higher frequency in its manifestation field here with you. Chiron in Aries speaks about the wound that the divine consciousness needs to heal in order to manifest itself. This is what is happening now and create the chaos. There is also difficulty because the receptive energy, the world, the human world is not ready, open, participating. The Baphomet is one aspect of the wound. Humankind, with its lower frequency, is the second and big aspect. I will now quote my post about the last eclipse, the end of March. The Earth is adjusting its frequency using a black hole located behind the Sun, further in the Milky Way. It looks like a huge funnel, which energies are filtered by the Sun, then applied to Earth. This is what triggered such unusually strong solar activity, and it's not finished. It's an ongoing process. The storm and the funnel are intended or generated by the consciousness of the Milky Way, your creator consciousness, to remove the last remains of shadowy frequencies that are still hindering, delaying the ascension process, and triggering chaos. The cleaning is needed. However, the Earth shall be protected. Seismic activity that was written in March, the end of March. System activity and location are determined by the adjustment of consciousness and removal of past frequencies. 2 or 3 very large extraterrestrial vessels were visible. These vessels, they're still there, are huge. They use technology to protect the Earth, not specifically human beings, but the Earth itself, Gaia. The exopopulations, extraterrestrials, are actually rejoicing. They know that Earth and humankind are on the right track, although the situation appears drastic. This is cleaning time. It takes time. The light is powerful, yet administered at the cadence of the stars and planets. Otherwise, humans would be burnt. Many will respond that it does not concern them. You did not participate in those rituals. You have no idea. That's what you think. Baphomet, demiurge, manifested deity, even the terms are foreign to you. Well, there are 2 parts to my answer. 1, if you are attracted to my prose, your soul knows. Just be open to increased self-awareness. 2, besides the Baphomet and the occult, Have you never been affiliated to a religion? Really? And how did your religion imagine the divine? For how many centuries has the deity been represented as a dying man on a cross, who has a golden statue with 8 arms and 4 faces? Symbolism, habit, religions, everything must change, is being transmuted at high speed. And you need to participate. You need to try to access all parts of your consciousness, all these timelines during which you are or were still very religious or doing magic or whatever. And then you will become a better channel, a good receiver for the divine intent. So we need to look at all unfinished business. This is going to be helping the opposition with the Virgo supercluster and the square with the galactic center. You're not on your own. You're supported. You're supported by your creator consciousness. You are supported by all the team of the light. So just put yourself together, do it. You're not alone, you're loved. The intent of this meditative exercise is to prepare for the full moon of May. This is the time when the energy of manifestation is at its peak. And we want to act and function in synchronicity with the cosmos and with the map given in with astrology. So first, you are invited to regulate your breath, be seated in the most comfortable position for your body, so as to focus on your brain, on your connection with the outer world and not on your body. Slow down your rhythm. Make sure that your spine is as aligned as possible. Contemplate your bodies, if you can see them, and rectify your position as much as you can. Slowing your breath, focusing on your breathing. Help slow down your mind as well as the agitation in the body. Let's see what is coming. So every time that I say I am, you're supposed to add your name so as to have a fully personalized practice. For those who speak a different language, I recommend translating the text if you need to in your own language. However, use my voice as a guidance, even in English, so as to be connected to the energy that I embody and to my capacity to travel multidimensionally. I am Michael, and I now project myself in the multidimensional universe. So as to access and align myself with the present frequencies, with the divine trajectory, the divine mind and heart, I, whoever, willingly connect with the Creator's consciousness to align and serve the greater good, to integrate and dispense around myself, within my family, my neighborhood, the frequencies that are now available to the planet and to humankind. I want to serve the greater purpose. I want my brain to be open and available a clear recipient of the universe's frequencies, I align my life, my will, with the vibration of the universal heart mind. I open my brain and my heart to be a clear channel and in resonance I surrender to the will of the universe, knowing and trusting that everything that is now happening to me and to the world. Is perfection and shall lead to perfection. Whether I understand the process or not. I do not allow what is going on outside of myself. For all aspects of this physical life. To blind the necessity to turn inward, and find truth and rest within my heart. I let go of all the past efforts to fit with this world. Give myself a social countenance. I let go of all beliefs that were only crutches that I needed in the past. With or without the knowledge of everything, I pledge to let go of all past lives or multidimensional existences, intrusions in my present reality. I focus on the higher aspect of Neptune. Letting go of drama, glamour, illusions, pretense, while I focus on intuition and divine love. I bring my capacity to function, see, and love using my interdimensional self into the third dimension. So as to change the structures of my life and what I manifest for myself and for the world. I willingly surrender to the forces of change. Pluto and Uranus. As I am ready to manifest a renewed aspect of myself. I focus on joy, light, and I trust the blessings of the universe.